On everybody? This is YBB. We are talking about the UFC 292 recap show. I got my guy Finesse joining us today. I don't usually go this late live. I actually don't go live at all, to be honest. But we're gonna go ahead and recap the UFC 292 show, and give you guys our takes, maybe some matchmaking, maybe talk about the card next week. Who knows? We're just here to talk, lollygag, and all that good stuff. I haven't shared the stream yet with my Twitter. I don't know if my Twitter following is dead or alive. I actually just got back home from the bar, to be honest. So,
Oh
but
shit.
the fights, they were amazing, my guy. I kind of want to start at the bottom and get your opinion on one of these bouts. So, did you have any action on the first fight, Karine Silva versus Marina Moroz?
So I didn't officially end up on anything. I really wanted to take the shot on a dog. I don't make any bets, you know, early. I like to kind of get on the info I can, even up to weigh-ins. Sometimes I make bets day of. All I saw this week on Twitter was Moreau's love. She turned out to be a very public dog, so that was enough to kind of scare me off. I knew Silva has some advantages. I knew she was a dog on the mat and stuff like that, but so when I see stuff like that, that just kind of solely takes me off, especially when everybody's on a dog. So, yeah, it wasn't on the fight officially, but yeah, avenging that loss she took, 2013, 2014, something like that. Super, super impressive.
Yeah, so that fight as well, I was on the Moreau side as a bet, as a prediction. I did have Karine Silva. The only reason why I took Karine Silva as the prediction is because I didn't know where Moreau's like her head was at. Because I don't know if you know this, but she's actually signed by Playboy, so she's getting extra income, if you will, from a different resource. And it's not, she doesn't really have to fight MMA right now. She's kind of got the golden ticket to just kind of relax. And she's getting compensated handsomely, as far as I know. Now, I took her because of I was questioning Karine Silva's gas tank, and this is at the opener. I took Moroz. I took Moroz plus 145. The line came down. I saw some sharp money actually coming on the Karine Silva side as a buyback, so it made me a little bit hesitant. But I still have questions about her. We still have yet to see her outside of round one, so I wonder where her upside is at. But damn, she looks good. I don't know what her price tag is gonna, look like for her next fight, but I don't know that I can look to fade her. Again, I'm one of the I'm a kind of better that I look at the number before I make a decision whether or not I want to play that. But yeah, I mean, great showing. Another first round finish for her. So, I cannot dog her anymore. The next fight that we had that was after that was Andrea Lee versus Natalia Silva. Did you have any action here?
I was muted. I I did. So I put Silva in a parlay with Ian Gary, and then I took Silva by decision. So I got Silva by decision at like plus 115, something like that. So we cashed both of those, which is great. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think Silva could have looked any better. Definitely a bit of a step up in competition. Andrea Lee has fought some tough comp, and she's been around for a minute. Not the most elite level of competition, by any means, but still a step up. And I was thoroughly impressed by her. Was never really in doubt. The movement was elite. The gas tank looked intact and elite. Her fucking movement on the outside, nasty, nasty kicks, just completely nullified. I don't know if Lee kind of got hurt. I know the commentary team was kind of debating that, whether there was something wrong with her hand or something like that, but just completely shutting down and nullifying a top 15 girl in the world. So yes, super fucking impressive. Um, yeah, as impressive as it can get without getting a finish. She's now a top 15 girl, and another prospect with a very bright future. I think she's gonna beat the shit out of a lot of girls in the division. And yeah, was super super impressed by her. She made me some money, so shout out to her. And yeah, she's gonna continue to do great things.
Yeah, man. I think that she has a lot of upside in the division. There was a time where a lot of people were actually questioning whether or not she was UFC caliber. And this was before her long layoff. And then she comes back. She beats Jasmine Jazz Devicious. She made it look really easy. She was actually a 2-1 underdog in that spot. And she's just shown a lot of upside. Now, with the win over Andrea Lee, because Andrea Lee is not an easy out. She I don't know, like I kind of want to see Silva eventually fight Macy Barber. We saw Macy Barber versus Andrea Lee. That fight actually played out really close, really close. And
Who do you think won that fight?
what's that?
Who do you think won that fight?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I think Andrea Lee won that fight. I think she
Yeah.
was actually. I think she was robbed of a decision, but that's because they want to see. The UFC has this protocol: out with the old, in with the new, and we saw that tonight on display in
Yep.
full effect. And I don't ever want to question, judging or anything like that. I don't ever call fights rigged, But I think Andrea Lee got the best of Macy Barber. But it is what it is. And that win is, I mean, that win is aging pretty well. We saw what Macy Barber looked like her last time out. I'm interested to see what Macy Barber looks like versus Natalia Silva. That's far fetched though, because she's a little bit higher up in the rankings. So she's kind of working her way up to like the Alexa Grasso, maybe a title contender kind of a fight. But Natalia Silva's not too far behind, man. Her striking is clean. Her jiu-jitsu is clean. She mixes it up well. The time that she took off from MMA actually benefited her in the long run. So that was that was a great outing, great win. And she actually, I know it went to decision, but I think she looked her number and then some. So
Oh yeah.
good spot right there. Now, this next fight, I didn't have much of a take here, but let's talk about Gerald Mearshart and Andre Petroski. Did you have any action on this fight?
So I did. I took a little half unit shot on the dog. I took GM3 at a little north of plus 200. I took the obvious thing you got to take whenever GM3 fights. I took round 3 sub, round 2 sub, and then I took some early Petroski props. Obviously went to the decision. None of those cashed. I think it was a super close fight. I got to watch it back. I think people are super quick to have opinions and, I have money on this fighter. I think he won, stuff like that. So I definitely have to watch the fight back live. I gave it to GM3 again. That might be my money token, a little bit of bias. I had a 29-28 GM3. Again, I'd have to watch it over. I think GM3 showed that dog, a little bit. He got hit with some big shots that have fold. We've seen him fold, taking big shots like that in the past. So yeah, I think Petroski looked extremely sloppy striking, winging shots and shit like that. GM3 was not as aggressive wrestling. He never really is. Just kind of takes advantage of positions whenever he gets them. But yeah, I wasn't able to make money on that. That one hurt a little bit, stung a little bit. They got in that kind of awkward position. I think it was round 1, where GM3 was on his back, but kind of attacking. I think if he had more time to work, he would have maybe made something happen. But it was what it was. So yeah, I think it was a decent fight. I think Petroski is going to get fraud checked real soon. With one of these devastating strikers. His striking is not it. So you can have heavy hands all you want, but he's out there winging shots and just kind of winging and praying. So I think there'll definitely be spots to fade him in the future. And GM3 is what we thought he was.
Yeah. So GM3 in the division, he's one of those milestones where you have to kind of get past him in order to see where you stand in the rankings. Petroski did that, but he did it in a really close, razor thin fight. I'm not gonna lie, the value was on the dog. I scored it for the dog,
Yeah.
but I didn't have any action on the fight. I'm just watching it as a fan, and this is one of those scenarios where, again, out with the old and with the new. But Petroski, I kind of agree with you, man. I don't know exactly where his ceiling lies, and I think that there is a chance that his next fight looking real iffy, especially at the odds, man. Because this fight, I believe he closed like what minus 220 to 250, that ballpark. Not a good number to have on that guy, in my opinion. But I mean, overall, maybe he has some upside. I mean, again, he's training with some good guys, man. Like Sean Brady. Sean Brady, he does. I mean, we've always questioned his hands as well. Who else is he training with? Fuck, I can't even remember, man. He's training Jeremiah Wells. That's another guy that's up there in Philly. So, I mean, there's a good camp that comes out of that, but we see them, all of them kind of fight the same. Heavy hands, heavy hooks. But that's it, man. Like grappling's elite, but I don't know, one dimensional, I guess, if you will. But yeah, I'm kind of with you in that spot. I guess good win on paper, but in real life, it's kind of like what Andrea Lee and Macy Barber deal. Good
Yeah, I mean,
win.
and congrats to Petrosky bettors. I know some people, put them in parlays and stuff like that. But it's about the price, like you said earlier. I
That's
think you said that
exactly
earlier. It's about the
exactly
price. So,
the price.
when it goes to decision, right, and we're waiting for Bruce to read the decision, if you got north of plus 200 GM3 ticket in your pocket, you're feeling good. You did your job. But sometimes, it's fighting. Sometimes it doesn't work out. You lose some, you win some. But yeah, definitely hindsight. The number was definitely way off.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I just bet on the number. This next fight coming up, another one where probably missed the number if you were on the Cody Gibson side, but this fight delivered, man. I don't know if you saw this one, but Brad Katona versus Cody Gibson,
Fight of the night.
bro. I
Crazy.
I know Dana doesn't do this where you sign both fighters, but I mean, come on, man. Like the effort was there, the heart was there, the dedication was there. Both of them want to be in the UFC. Um, what a fucking fight. And it's slept on because it's early in the prelims. It's the tough finale. Their name value is not really there, but damn, did they fucking introduce UFC 292. They put on a fucking show. Um, I think Brad Katona, and a lot of people don't know this, but he has a win over Bryce Mitchell. This guy, he's a savage, man. He mixes it up well. He fought in Russia. He fought on the Brave FC scene. This guy has a ceiling. But for Cody Gibson to go out there and make it look competitive as a plus 180 underdog, come on, man. You got to give him a shot, at least short notice shot at, one of these guys that you want to build up. This was a great fight. Another one where I actually didn't have action. I was leaning the Brad Katona side, but nothing that I actually wanted to bet. I think as a fan, the fight delivered. As a bettor, I didn't have any action on this one. Did you have any action on it?
No, so I stayed away from the tough fights. Just kind of wanted to watch. I didn't really catch too much of the tough season. I'm just wasn't a fan of it. Yeah, I saw a lot of people this week not thinking these fights should be on the pay-per-view card, and Dana just it's a Dana pride move. Tough being his thing, and him wanting to get the fighters on a pay-per-view card. But I think it was more of these all four guys have been there, done that. All four guys are experienced. Have been in the game for a while, so I think he trusted them to deliver. And look at the fights that we got, starting with this one. So, yeah, amazing fight, amazing grit shown by both guys. It kind of looked like Atona was slowing down, like late round one, early round two, and then just completely flipped that switch and kind of caught that second win. So, yeah, super impressive. I definitely thought Katona won. So, I'm, not mad at the decision at all. But, yeah, great grit from both guys. Striking got a little sloppy at times, but I think Katona was definitely the crisper striker more consistently. And yeah, and he took the fight. So yeah, no action betting wise, but yeah, how about that? The tough finale getting fight of the night with all these names, or on a pay per view card, all the names on the card, and they got fight of the night. So that's
They
incredible.
absolutely delivered, man.
Yeah,
They delivered.
yeah.
The next fight we had Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Cullabau. I don't know if you had anything here. Um, I was on the Kurt side of things as an underdog. And this is because I know what Austin Hubbard brings. He's pretty one dimensional. He wants a calf kick, and he fights like he doesn't actually want to be in the cage if you really watch him. And he also moved from Fortis MMA. That's down the street from me. I know all about Fortis MMA. Um, and I just wasn't sure like where his training was going after that, because there was times where he was just kind of like down on himself, questioning himself, and to see him as a favorite and me being a guy that bets on prices and the number next to a name, I was like, man, he should not be a favorite. Kurt Holloway, I mean, he's the real deal. Another guy who's fought on the regional scene. He's fought in good promotions. Actually, in his UFC stint, the name value behind him, bro, he's fought some ranked fighters actually. So I was like, man, this guy has the experience. Give me Kurt Holloway, but this wasn't one where I had like a lot of interest in. The tough finale is really hard to be interested in unless you're actually following the show.
Yep.
And I think that the show overall over the last few years has kind of taken a ding. It just became like reality TV, and you know, it's more marketable than it is like martial arts, I guess, in my opinion. But did you have any action on that one? You skipped both
Yeah,
of them.
no, yeah, not on this one, but yeah, like you said, we kind of knew, what to expect from both fighters. Like you said, Halabal has fought some great Tiago Moises, Shane Burgos, Hani Barcelos. Just that first UFC stint was something else. I don't think he fought. Yeah, all in the UFC stint. So yeah, I mean, we knew he was slick as fuck on the mat, and that's exactly what we saw. I think he transitioned, like, I think it was from an armbar to a triangle choke, and just super, super clean. So, held his own on the feet, got the fight where he wanted to get it, and yeah, I've never really been a big fan of Hubbard. Like you said, I think this price tag should have been a lot closer to pick him, and yeah, great shot on Hollowball, great reading on the dog there, and yeah, that decent fight. Was the second best tough fight, but definitely a decent fight. Got the finish, which is what you're going there for. And yeah, got himself a contract.
Yeah. That was really impressive. But I don't know how long his next stint in the UFC is really gonna last. I hope that they don't give him all these fucking killers. I really want to see Kurt succeed. He's a good man. He has good
Yeah, he's
intentions.
30 and he's 36, so it's like, where do you project? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. The next fight that we had Dennis Tululin versus Gregory Rodriguez. Did you have any action here?
Yeah, so I took Tallulah in round 1 KO, and I took Rodriguez by sub for obvious reasons, right? I think everybody kind of knew what to expect. Rodriguez does not like to wrestle. I don't know if that's because he questions his cardio. We've seen him kind of gas out in some spots. I don't know if he just fall in love with the hands like a lot of wrestlers do, but he had the clear advantage on the ground. Talibah is a fish out of water on the ground. And it's like he was listening to us. He went on Twitter all week and because he shot almost right away. So they played with the hands for a little bit, and then he shot right away. The sub was definitely live, right? He rolled over to his back and kind of had him flat and could have went for the choke, but landed one devastating elbow that might have been illegal, might have not, but who cares? Who cares? And
Dude, they were talking about that. That was I
yeah,
don't think it was illegal. I think that it was
yeah,
just the position. Like illegal has to be intentional.
yeah. And
Um,
it's a tough position to be in, right? The guy's head is moving and shit like that. So yeah, listen, he put him out with one elbow. Tallulah was done after one elbow. So shout out to him. Got the KO round 1. Did not hit the props, which sucks. But so lost a little bit of money on the fight. But impressive. He did exactly what he should have and finished the fight. So shout out to him.
yeah, that was impressive, man. So I'm with you on the Tululin side. I'm actually more so in the fade Gregory Rodriguez camp as we move up the rankings because
Oh yeah.
he's edging there. And here's the thing with Rodriguez: I don't actually rate his takedowns. Tululin doesn't have takedown defense at all. But as we get up in the rankings, Gregory Rodriguez, what he looks for is a judo throw, and that's really hard in his division. And Gregory Rodriguez, he capitalized on an opportunity in this spot, but I think this is his ceiling, to be honest. He's taken a lot of damage, taken a lot of beatings. I do hope that we get him as a favorite in the next fight so that I can fade him because I was with you on the Tululin side. Tululin hits hard, bro. That dude is kind of a savage, but he's a savage in only one area, and that's striking. Gregory Rodriguez, he's well rounded, but I think he tests other martial arts a little too often. Striking, he thinks that he can compete with other people when really he's not that guy. So good win by him. I predicted him to win on my the Tapology sheet. Didn't have any real action. I actually took a shot on Tululin, but I wish I would have done like KO or something. I live and die by the number. Just because he didn't KO him doesn't mean that I'm upset with the bet. That's his victory.
Yeah, and this
Uh,
was kind of a tailor-made, right? It's a get right spot, right? He got knocked the fuck out by a jab his last time out. I think that was only like 2 or 3 months ago. And he's fighting a 10-7 guy, a guy with absolutely no takedown defense, absolutely no ground game. This fight was, I think, set up for him to do what he did. So yeah, but the books made it almost impossible. He was what, north of 300 at close. It was just impossible to bet that number. I really didn't want to parlay him with anybody, but obviously hindsight, he would have been a great parlay piece. But yeah, shout out to him. I 100% agree. There's going to be times where, especially if he's a short favorite or whatever, definitely going to be times to fade him.
that I've been looking at this fight, and there's a fighter that's on the radar who is just kind of a fighter. You look at these fighters who are never going to be a thing, but they always give these good fights. Kevin Holland comes to mind. Joaquin Buckley is another one. I kind of think Joaquin Buckley fights Gregory Rodriguez, and that's the time where I'm going to fade him. I do this matchmaking thing in my head, like after every event, And we already know, Buckley's never going to be a UFC champ. Kevin Holland actually used to be my neighbor, bro, which is crazy. But
Word?
yeah. He used to be my neighbor. And he's not going to be champ. He knows he's not going to be champ, but he's going to put on some damn good fights, and he fights for your dollar.
Yep.
Dude has a lot of heart, man. But yeah, I think if you give Gregory Rodriguez one of those guys, well, Holland's kind of been hanging around the 170 weight class lately. So
That's a banger though. Rodriguez and Buckley, that's a banger right there.
I do a lot of matchmaking like after the fights happen.
Yeah.
And that's just one to me that makes sense. Both of them are off of wins. They both have a little bit of upside in the division, but I don't know that we're going to get the number. This is just me looking ahead. But
Yeah, what would you line that fight as?
what would I line it as?
Yeah.
I would probably have Gregory Rodriguez as like plus 120, Joaquin Buckley like minus 140, something like that. It has to be close, but I think the books would open it. And this is what the books do because UFC is such it's a smaller market to bet on compared to like MLB, NBA, NFL. They're going to open up a soft line where Gregory Rodriguez is the favorite. And this is what they do all the time. It's always recency bias in MMA. So, for instance, like we got next weekend, Aaron Blanchfield taking on Talia Santos. Aaron Blanchfield is minus 140 right now. And this is all recency bias is because Talia Santos took a couple years off. She had visa issues. And she's the underdog. I think that fight, I mean, honestly, I think Aaron Blanchfield probably wins that fight. But I'm just saying the books take into account recency bias compared to like skill and all that stuff. But
yeah, all the casuals are going to be on Blanchfield, and I think that. I mean, that may be what they want. I don't know, but at that line, I think there's going to be a lot of action on Blanchfield.
I think if you're going to bet Blanchfield, you better do it now. And I already did it. I had to, bro. And the only reason why is because Taila Santos takes down opponents that don't know what they're doing off their back. So I hate to say it, but Shevchenko doesn't really work off her back very well. And, she's a legend, but Aaron Blanchfield does. If you watch her in her LFA fights and she's on her back, she scrambles up. She gets out of position. She actually she throws up, submission attempts. So, I mean, we'll cross that bridge whenever we get there. But I think Aaron Blanchfield has probably minus 200 upside in that fight. I hate to say it, I don't want to be that guy because I love backing my underdogs, but I think Taila Santos is a little too one-dimensional for me, a little slow, a little one-dimensional. She's like the Aljamain Sterling of the women's division. And I don't know, man. I think Aaron Blanchfield, she's on the up and up, man. We'll see, though. We'll see. I'm okay being wrong. I'm going to be wrong many more times, but the next fight that we had that was on the card, we had Chris Weidman versus Brad Tavares. I didn't have any interest in this fight at all. I was actually rooting for Chris Weidman to win because I don't think there's in any world Brad Tavares should be minus 230-ish. What's funny is he actually closed minus 800 at FanDuel. Somebody came in and put I think it was I don't know, 500K or something like that. It's on BR Betting.
Pre-fight, he closed minus 800?
Minus 850. This was 10 minutes before the fight. I guess FanDuel took a big ass bet and they had to adjust that line.
Whoa.
So somebody knew something. And in hindsight, I mean, he was right. Chris Weidman, 39 years old, kind of washed, a little one-dimensional. The game's passing him up. There's a lot of fighters where the game has just passed them up. And in my opinion, this is one of them. I was rooting for Chris. I thought the odds were a little bit disrespectful. Brad Tavares, in my opinion, just, in hindsight, my minus 800s, I want them to get it done inside the distance. And Brad Tavares doesn't really have that finishing upside. He just wants to kickbox and win by points half the time. I really wasn't interested in this fight. Both of them are pretty much gatekeepers. I'm a little bit disappointed that Chris Weidman didn't just retire.
It's coming.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, I don't know why he just didn't do it right then and there. I mean, the vision is already beyond him. He has these aspirations. Before fight, he was talking, "Oh, I want to get back to the belt." Brother, come on. That was 2012. We 2023 now. The game has changed. But Brad Tavares, he's in the same boat. He'll never be champ. He's just kind of a gatekeeper of the division. It was an okay prelim fight. I mean, I guess I'm a fan of the matchmaking. I don't really know, man. I didn't know what to think of it. Did you have any action on the fight though?
Yeah, so I first of all, I agree with a lot with what you said. I originally was gonna pair Natalia Silva with Tavares. I think it was way better odds than obviously the pairing it with Ian Gary. But the whole week that was my plan. And then last minute I just backed out. I'm like, how am I gonna back? Because like you said, I don't think Tavares should be a north of -200 versus really anybody, even Chris Weidman. I gave Chris Weidman a 0% chance to win this fight. I know he's a legend, obviously former champ, iconic moments in the octagon. But even before the injury, I hated what I saw from him in the octagon. Getting just being competitive with guys that, like you said, in 2012, 2013, it'd be a wash. The striking wasn't there, the movement wasn't there, and that was pre-injury, a devastating injury. So that's why I eventually backed out, and it didn't back Tavares at all. I thought he was going to win. It really wasn't close. Obviously, the crowd was oohing and ahhing everything that Wyman did, and that can kind of sway people's opinions and stuff like that. But he didn't really do shit. Not Wyman. Tavares ate up both of his legs, landed some heavy strikes. The elite takedown defense was on display again. I mean, just top notch elite takedown defense. I think he was like 8-8, 9-9 on takedown defense. So just incredible takedown defense. And yeah, got the job done. Hindsight, that price looked justified. I think he justified his price. But yeah, no official action. It was what it was. Like you said, good prelim fight, I guess. But yeah, Weidman needs to retire. I think we get a Instagram post in like a couple of days. And yeah, I think post fight they said he fucked up his like MCL or ACL in the other leg. So yeah, that's not good. So Brad Tavares thing. Yeah, there's gonna be times we're gonna fade the fuck out of Brad Tavares. I'm sure you've already done that and made a lot of money. So there's gonna be times to do that again.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I root for Brad though. That's a Hawaiian brother of mine. I root for all the Hawaiians in the UFC.
Sir.
Max Holloway's another one next weekend. I don't ever like want to fade them, man. Like I love my Hawaiians, but yeah, I mean, great fight, good showing. It is what it is, kind of a fight.
Yeah.
I wasn't really a fan, but I have to be a fan of it, I guess, because of what Weidman has done for the sport. What Tavares has also done for the sport. Let's not forget, he's pretty slept on, man. Like he's fought everybody. Anybody that you can name in the middleweight division, he's probably fought him. Israel Adesanya, Robert Whitaker. He's got the name value, so he just doesn't get the recognition. I don't know why, but I mean, he's up there too. He just hasn't gotten his, and he never will get his shine. Next fight that we had Marlon Vera versus Pedro Munoz. Now, bro, this fight was I actually really loved this fight. And there's one thing that I do that I enjoy. So this was the fight that I watched before I headed to the bar down the street. And I watch a lot of fights on silent mute. I don't want to hear commentary. This was the one that I wanted to just watch them fight because I'm more of a fan of the action rather than the commentary. I don't want to hear Joe Rogan, oh, he's going for I don't want to hear that shit. I just want to martial art happen and play out. I've been a fan of martial arts for forever, really. And I'm not going to lie, man. Pedro Munoz was putting the work in on Marlon Vera as far as like volume. From my perspective, again, I didn't have commentary. He was putting the volume, the forward pressure. But the thing with Marlon Vera is he just puts the damage on his opponents. Because after the fight, I looked at him and I'm just like, fuck, man, Pedro Munoz looks fucked up. Marlon Vera looks good. I wish Marlon Vera would have, finished the fight because it would have made that win look a little bit more impressive for Sean O'Malley to entertain, the title fight because that's who he wants. He wants to fight Marlon Vera. It's not, I mean, of course, it's probably going to be somebody else, but he wants to fight Marlon Vera. I don't know, man. I don't know what's next for Marlon Vera, but he's also ran through everybody that's pretty much in the top 5. I mean, that's a fantastic win. He lost to Sandhagen, though, but he did beat Rob Font. He has his wins that are in the division. So it's like, what's next for him? Is it a title fight or is it Umar Nurmagomedov? Because Umar called him out on Twitter. So I don't know. We'll see what happened. Did you have any action on this fight?
I did. So I laid the fucking wood on Cheeto. I laid the price. I got it, I think, minus 185. Again, I'll take fights later in the week. So I don't think I got the best price, but yeah, it is what it is. So, anytime you bet on Cheeto, you pretty much know what you're gonna get. You're gonna be screaming at the TV, wishing he threw more volume, especially early, mainly early in fights. And that's kind of what I was doing. I think Pedro won the first round. I don't think, he got 30-27 on two scorecards, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I think Pedro outvalued him in the first round, was controlling, the octagon more. So I gave Pedro the first round. And that's pretty much what's going to happen every time with Cheeto. I think Cheeto looked better in the first round. I think he was more aggressive than he normally is in the first round. So made it a little bit closer. And yeah, Cheeto doesn't really wear damage. Pedro does wear damage, and we saw that early. I think the first Cheeto jab, read it up the nose and was already kind of looking fucked up. But yeah, I gave Cheeto rounds 2 and 3. He really picked it up. Like you said, the third round he was butchering Pedro's fucking face off. So he was boxing his face off. So I think I like to see Cheeto in 5 round fights. I think if that one was a 5 round fight, I think he absolutely takes over and dominates. But yeah, I think the right man won. I don't think he necessarily maybe didn't justify the price at close to minus 200, but yeah, did his thing. We know what we're gonna get with Cheeto pretty much. Slick boxing, kicks from all angles. His kicks up the middle were really good tonight. But yeah, I mean, Pedro is what it is. I did sprinkle Cheeto by knockout. I think he could be the one to could have been the first one to finish Pedro. I don't think we ever really came close. He definitely hit him with some big shots. But yeah, at plus 500, plus 600 where I got it at, I think it was worth the stab. So yeah, he got to me tonight. Yeah, he's fighting for the belt. I don't think there's any way he's not fighting for the belt. I think this is what this card was pretty much set up for. I think the UFC was hoping the same thing that we were, that Cheeto would finish Pedro. But yeah, he's fighting for the belt. Sean called him out, mentioned his name, post fight at the press conference, post fight. So yeah, I think he definitely fights for the belt next. I think it's undeserved, but like you said, he's fought some tough comp, won some, lost some. But yeah, I think it was a good fight. Yeah, two tough guys, and shout out to Cheeto.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the optics speak for themselves. I will say this, like, I think that he did cover his price tag and then some after watching the fight. Now, the first round, yeah, it's competitive. There's volume, but MMA scoring criteria, it doesn't matter what volume you put out. Are you doing damage? We
Damn
saw
it,
the
dude.
same shit with Rob Font. And Rob Font got fucking dominated, butchered. But yeah, great fight. Good win for Cheeto. What's next? What's next for him? I don't know. If it's Umar, I'm gonna be sad for him because I think Umar probably takes that one.
Yep.
But man, I root for the guy, man. So I mean, we'll see what happens. The next fight that we had was Mario Batista versus Damone Blackshear. How'd you score this one?
It definitely wasn't a 30-27. I'll tell you that. I think it was a super close fight. I gotta watch the fight back. Obviously, I did give Blackshear the first round. I took the dog shot on Blackshear. I waited. Obviously, a late replacement fight. Odds were late. Odds were available kind of late. But I took the shot. I think I got him like plus 185 on FanDuel or something like that. And I think it was worth it. I think as the fight went later, I think you kind of saw that 2 weight cuts in a row, 2 fights in 7 days. I think that kind of wore on him a little bit. I think the volume was an issue as the fight went later. Batista's an absolute fucking dog. So he was there for all 15 minutes in his face. We got some beautiful, scrambles and transitions and that roll, I don't know exactly what you call it, but that body lock kind of into a roll that Batista did to end up in mount was fucking gorgeous. Yeah, Blackshear won the first round. I thought it was looking really good after round one. I thought he'd be able to kind of keep more of that pace. I think it was. I thought it was really close. Watching live and kind of chopping it up with the chat in the Discord, I thought Blackshear won 29-28, but it's one of those fights where you can't really be surprised out of the decision. So I don't think anybody got robbed or anything. It definitely wasn't a 30-27 for Batista. I'll tell you that. I think that was good old Sal, right? That scored at 30-27. Might have been Otto that did that. But yeah, I mean, great fight. I still think Blackshear is a fucking monster. I think he's gonna beat a lot of dudes up. Batista's a beast too. Same for him. I gotta watch the fight again to get a better understanding. But yeah, great fight. Two elite guys, guys that could scrap on the feet, on the mat too. So yeah, great fight. Promising future for both of them.
I'm gonna fade Batista in his next fight if we get a minus number next time. Brother, he is so one dimensional. And to what my biggest concern is with him, you're fighting a guy on 7 days' notice who cut weight twice. You know how hard it is to get to 135 when you're walking around 165 and do it twice in 1 week?
Yep.
Blackshear should not have looked as good as he did. And he looked good. I actually scored the fight for him, to be honest. I have to rewatch it as well. But I scored the fight for Blackshear. Didn't have any action here, but I was rooting for him, man. Like, I think in a matter of a week, he re-signed a new UFC deal. He got a 50K twister bonus his last time out. Probably made 100 grand within the last week. He's chilling. He's good. There was no pressure for him.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was no pressure for him to win this fight, but I thought he did. I thought he made a good account of himself. Mario Bautista, on the other hand, I just don't like his resume. I don't like his. Did you see how easily he got taken down
in the first round? Yeah,
he was just getting thrown around. He was a kettlebell. I call them kettlebells. You pick them up, put them down. Yeah, man. I don't know where Bautista lays, but I'll tell you this much: he did not cover his price tag, in my opinion. I think that the right side was probably on Blackshear, but I mean, I didn't have any action on it. I'm just watching as a fan. But moving on, there's 3 fights left to talk about. We had Ian Gary versus Neil Magny. All right, tell me what action you had here.
Yeah, so I parlayed, like I said, I parlayed him with Silva, right? It was a chalky ass lay. I think it was like minus 175. Put 2 units on it. Obviously, it cashed. I think Gary looked every bit of minus 500. That's what you call covering your price tag right there. He beat the shit out of Neil Magny. And, there was a lot of people upset in the chat, a lot of people upset on Twitter, a lot of people had a lot of money on Gary ITD, and kind of doxing him, right, for not finishing that fight. But that's about as bad as you could beat somebody's ass in the octagon for 15 minutes. That's about as bad as it gets. So I think the fight week shenanigans impacted how Gary fought. I think if he wanted to finish, I think he would have. That if you throw 2 or 3 straight leg kicks to that leg, he's falling or the ref's going to stop it. I think he knew that. I just think he wanted to beat the shit out of him for 15 minutes and really put it on him and punish him. That's what I think. Who really knows? But that's kind of what Gary said post-fight at the press conference. He said he could have went in and finished, but, why risk it? Why get choked out? This and that. So, yeah, I mean, still a little worried about that defense. A lot of people call it that tall man defense. His chin is up in the air sometimes, and he's kind of barely moving out of range. But yeah, dominant performance. Happy I found a way to back him and make some money. That's what you call covering your price tag for sure. He beat the shit out of Neil Magny, and Neil Magny is known for making fighters not fight their fight, and fighters don't reach their ceiling versus him and kind of making it an awkward fight. And Gary did not have a problem with that. So, stuffed some takedowns, got in dominant positions, and beat his ass.
Yeah, I had Ian Gary tied to basically every UFC bet I had today. I don't ever use the lock word, but I was like, you know what? I with the old and with the new. We talk about this a lot in UFC, but I don't know, man. After watching all this, I'm more so in the camp that Jeff Neal would have finished.
What?
Yeah, I am. I know. Wow. But again, bro, I'll be honest. Fortis MMA is down the road. Jeff Neal's my guy. A little bit of bias goes into it. I was never going to fade Jeff Neal, but I will fade Neil Magny. But with all of that being said, look, man, he's in the welterweight division. He's got to fight Shavkat, Khamzat, Bilal. I don't even think he gets past Bilal, to be honest. I think the next step up for him, they'd probably give him maybe Vicente Luque, right? Which he might. I would pick him, but I know that he's probably going to open minus 400. After that, though, as we get more into the division, I don't know, man. I don't know where his ceiling is at. I think that he's an entertaining fighter, but I think that right now we are in a state where this is Shavkat's division. I don't think anybody's getting past him. And, a lot of people want to think that or believe that Ian Gary, covers his price tag and all this. I'm probably sounding like a hater right now. I think at minus 500, you got to finish Neil Magny. 7-day notice, Neil, welterweight Neil, who is coming off, rolled off the couch, made weight. Come on, man. I don't know. I think Neil. I think Jeff Neal would have put up a much better fight. And I'm sad that he got removed from the card. I think a lot of people sleep on Jeff Neal in the division, to be honest. I think that guy's a savage. I think the fight that he gave Shavkat, if you go back and watch that, yeah, that doesn't happen to Shavkat. You don't take him into deep waters like Jeff Neal did. That's just my opinion. That's my 2 cents. But what's next for him? What's next for Ian Gary? In my opinion, I think it is Vicente Luque. I also mentioned that it might be RDA, because RDA is back and forth between lightweight, welterweight, and if I'm the UFC, I'm gonna spoon feed Ian Gary, just because he's such a marketer, such a promoter. He's a money-making machine. I'll probably give him Vicente Luque, though, in my opinion, because it's a stylistically good matchup for him. Maybe RDA, I don't know, but can't do the legend like that all dirty. Who would you give him?
I like the RDA fight. I think that's super, super interesting. I definitely agree. Shavkat to the world. I think Shavkat beats him. I don't know if Bilal beats him. I like Bilal. I think that's another guy. I think he's super tough. He's going to be a tough fight for anybody, but I still think Gary gets it done. I think Gary's the real deal. I really do. I think he has big potential in the division. I don't think we've seen him yet by far hit a ceiling. I think he's 25, 26. We haven't really seen him, have to survive, 15 minutes on the ground and truly what his wrestling game is, his BJJ game is. So we'll see. But I like the RDA fight. I think that's a really good matchup. Like you said, I think it's a winnable matchup. He said at the post-fight press conference, he said he wants to fight like 4 more times right before getting a title shot. So Vicente's going to be 7 or 8 now, probably.
Yeah, he's probably going to be 7 or 8. RDA was never ranked because he just didn't have enough fights in the division. But realistically, because of the name, you could probably give him Ian Gary.
Yeah. I mean, he said he wanted to fight 4 more times before a belt. So Vicente Luque seems like high in the rankings, but he mentioned a lot of names post-fight, and a lot of those names are top 5 names. So, yeah, definitely interesting. But I'm in the camp that he's the real fucking deal. So that means whooping guys like Jeff Neal, even Jeff Neal and Bilal possibly. So I like the RDA fight. Hopefully we get that next.
I think, and this is me getting off topic, but I think Bilal is so slept on because a lot of people consider him boring, but he just gets he gets shit done, bro. Yeah. I like Bilal because he's been such a money train for me. I just keep backing him, keep going back to the well. And I would do it again because in my mind, I know that he would take that fight. You know who I think he could also beat, in my opinion, who's also overrated in the welterweight division? I think it is Colby Covington. I think and this is me getting off topic again. I think Covington has a stylistically certain matchup that he can win. But I think Ian Gary is one of those guys that could probably expose him. But you have to the thing with MMA is it's all about styles. Styles make fights. That's how I would match him. If you're trying to milk this guy, that's what I would do. Give him the Sean O'Malley treatment. They did a good job building that guy up, and it actually ended up paying off for the UFC in the long run. I mean,
yeah, but Kobe's a name that he mentioned post-fight, but he's number 2 in the world. So if Gary wants to fight 4 times,
dude, Kobe is so whack, bro. The only thing is like he's only gonna fight between 1 and 3, and that's just the way it is. The UFC needs to put a fucking make him fucking fight somebody else because it's always I'm gonna get a title shot and I'm gonna get a title shot after beating fucking washed Jorge Masvidal, who was number 9 at the time. Come on, bro. None of his wins actually look good. He has a grip on the UFC. I don't ever get it, bro. When they say Dana White privilege, it's Colby. That's who it is. But he's beatable.
Sean Brady? Question mark.
Sean Brady, what for next? For
Gary?
Doesn't Sean Brady have a fight coming up? He was supposed to fight Jack Della.
Yeah,
I think at this point, Ian Gary has probably moved up beyond Sean Brady. Brady
got Brady 9, and they got Gary 13, where Magny was.
Okay, yeah, I haven't looked at the rankings yet. They'll update Monday usually, but I think he's probably going to pass Sean Brady. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Brady even has a fight scheduled. The Jack Della fight made a lot of sense, but now we get Jack Della and Kevin Holland. So,
Banger.
bro, all right, early prediction. Who you got?
Oh my god. Oh God, I don't know. You said some borderline disrespectful things about Kevin Holland earlier, talking about he's not a real contender and this and that. I
Bro,
think he looked really focused last fight, and hopefully that's more to come of that type of shit. I'm still going Jack Della, bro.
to be fair, with my Kevin Holland analysis is he knows this too. He's also said that.
Yeah.
But the time that he did say that, I actually ran into him at a Kroger up here, and he was talking about how he he beat Cowboy Oliveira. It was right after the fight. I ended up seeing him, ran into him. I was like, "Yo, that was a great welterweight debut," and he goes, "Yeah, man, making weight was easy. I was never going to be champ at 185. Blah blah blah." 185, bro. The resume that this guy had, Derek Brunson, Marvin Vittori, bro, everybody. This guy was like, he just threw his name in the hat. Thiago Santos, who's a fucking light heavyweight.
In his
He's just,
debut.
yeah. So I think he fought Brendan Allen his debut, no? Or
No, I don't know. I can check that real quick. I thought
maybe that was Brendan Allen's debut. I don't know. But yeah, anyways, Kevin Holland kind of knew like he was getting paid though. Like guys entertaining as hell. So um a little off topic discussion there. But anyways, the next fight that we have Amanda Lemos and Wiley Zhang. Okay. I tied Wiley into everything as well. I What happened tonight is exactly what I imagined. I thought that she would actually get the finish. This is where I will give Lemos credit. She lasted all 5 rounds. She didn't give up. You know where she fucked up though? She went for a super hard anaconda choke in the first round. And when you squeeze like that for as long as you do, your biceps, your shoulders, your chest, when you flex like that, all that lactic acid just builds up and within the rounds. So your choke, your strikes, everything becomes less powerful. So if you can survive a submission attempt in, the first round, or if you just let them squeeze, there's a good chance that you can just kind of tee off on them. And that's exactly what I thought that the fight IQ from Wiley Zhang was elite. I thought that she had the best fight IQ of every fighter tonight. She got tagged a couple times, yeah. She got hit, rocked, but I don't even want to say rocked. I think that she just got hit. But I think she had the best fight IQ out of everybody on the board tonight. She knew what she had to do. She took Lemos down. Lemos is just a kettlebell. Literally, she'll hit you. She hits hard. She can finish fights, but this is another girl where is her ceiling at? If you don't have any takedown defense, you're not going to go very far. If you're relying on knockouts, if you're relying on a split decision win over Angela Hill, come on, man. Where are we going? I tied Wiley Zhang into every parlay that I had in the UFC. Or every other parlay. I want to see Ian Gary, her, and Natalia Silva were probably my anchors for tonight. But she looked her price tag and then some in a decision win. She looked at. Did you see the numbers that she put up? It was 288 to 9.
is that the record for striking differential in WMMA?
Fucking incredible, bro. Now, I don't even want to talk about what's next for Wiley Zhang because we already know what's next. It's Chinese super fight. It's Yan Xiaonan, and everyone's going to be sleeping on Yan. I'm going to bet Yan. I'll tell you that right now. I'm betting Yan because they're going to open her probably up. I would say that the books open her probably plus 260. Anything above that is an auto bet for me just based off of principle. Yan Xiaonan, super slept on. Nobody really knows her. She doesn't have the name recognition yet, but she'll get there. But Lemos, with her dropping down, I kind of wonder what's next for her at strawweight. Did you have any bets here, first of all?
Yeah, so I was super close to just putting Whaley in a parlay and kind of finding a partner for her, but I did not do that last minute. I bet her ITD, and I laid minus 150 to do so, and absolutely got fucked. So yeah, I agree with a lot of your points. We've seen Lemos look like an absolute fish out of water on the ground before. We've seen her ass hit the mat, and she does not know at all what to do. And Wei Lee has shown in her last couple of fights that she's going to be more aggressive with the wrestling, and she could take it there and be dominant. And that's exactly what she did. We just saw her submit Carla Esparza, and Carla Esparza is one of the best females on a mat in that division. So yeah, super impressive. Like you said, set a striking record to land 200 plus strikes in even a 5-round WMMA fight is impressive as fuck. It is insane. So yeah, she absolutely dominated. I saw a lot of Lemos love throughout the week, and I really did not understand it. Like you said, super one dimensional. Those hands, she got fight changing power, especially in WMMA. But still, still that's one dimension, and that's really all she has. So I didn't think she really had a chance in the striking. I thought Wei Lee would be too fast for her. And if she decided to be aggressive like she did tonight with the wrestling, I thought she'd have success, and that's kind of what we saw. So completely wiped her out, completely nullified her. I really thought she was going to finish in round one. I think another ref in there, and I think some refs stopped that. Close to getting her out of there a couple times. Fortunately, didn't do it. I bet Gary ITD, I bet Wei Lee ITD, I parlay them together, all of that type of shit, and they just dominated, but they ain't finished. So yeah, super impressive. Like you said, we're getting the Yan Xiaonan fight next. I'm kind of with you. I thought I was gonna say closer to plus 300 around that range, especially after what we just saw. I think the recency bias will be cooked into that line, but if it's plus 300, I think you got to take a shot on a dog. Even if you feel like Wei Lee might be the side, and all of that shit from a market perspective and a value perspective. Xiaonan is a monster, and we've seen Wei Lee hurt against some girls in his division. So yeah, 100% agree. If we get anywhere near that price, I'll definitely take a shot on Yan.
Yeah, that I think that we're gonna get a generous number on Yan. And one thing that was a question mark with her coming into the UFC was her takedown defense, and she's really worked on that. And I think she's a tough out for anybody. Lemos though, she's gonna have to take a step back. So with some of these 115ers coming up, I kind of question like where she fits in the division a little bit, just because she is just so one-dimensional. The step up in competition was a little too much in my opinion. If you look at her resume, it wasn't all that great to begin with. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think she hits really hard. I think she has a lot of upside, but I think that there's also a lot that she could work on. And
they should just feed her to Mackenzie Dern.
Exactly. I was thinking that too. I was thinking Mackenzie Dern. That was a name that was on my mind.
Yeah.
But also Mackenzie Dern, I mean, it makes sense for Mackenzie Dern because she's got to fight up. She's going to have to fight up. So, I mean,
Lemos got to think that that's a winnable fight, right? Lemos is going to go into that fight thinking, I'm going to knock her ass out.
I mean, dude, did you see what Mackenzie Dern did in her last fight with Angela Hill? Did you watch that fight?
I don't think so, actually.
Bro, I think if you are, if you're a hardcore MMA fan and you love watching fights, I think that might be, it's underrated because it happened at the Apex, but that's one of the most underrated women's MMA fights I've ever seen.
What card did that headline?
Yeah, it was a headline card. It was Dern and Angela Hill, and it happened, I don't know, it was sometime this year, but bro, it was an amazing fight. I loved everything about it. Dern looked her price tag and then some. She fought like Angela Hill owed her something. So it was amazing. All right. We are going to talk about the main event of the evening. Now, I had a little bet on Sean O'Malley. I predicted Sean O'Malley as well. I won 11-1 on predictions. The only one that I missed was actually Weidman, but in hindsight, bad selection. This is one where did you know that Sean O'Malley is 16 out of 84 on his takedown attempts in his last 8 fights?
Damn,
16% takedowns.
You said Aljo.
Aljo.
Yeah.
16%. And in his last 8 fights. And when he gets his opponents down, he keeps them down. He's great at backpacking. So the numbers become a little bit flurried. But, with Peter Yan, he was able to take him down. with TJ Dillashaw, injured shoulder, easy to get him down. Henry Cejudo, 3 years layoff. I was looking at all that. I saw the his takedown accuracy, and I was just like, something's not adding up. I think Sean O'Malley's going to catch him with a knee on the way in, or is just going to knock him out. And it played out exactly that way. I was so happy to see Aljamain Sterling get knocked out. I don't know if you had any action here, so I don't want to talk too soon and maybe downgrade some of your bets. But I thought Sean O'Malley made an excellent account of himself tonight. Like, the takedown defense was on point. He didn't get taken down. Aljo tried it to close round 1 because that's how you close a round. You got to get the takedown and finish strong. He wasn't able to do that, and he wasn't able to do it in round 2. And Aljo caught him. Sean caught him so clean on that entry that it was beautiful to watch. Did you have any action in the fight?
Yeah, so I chose violence, you know what I'm saying? So winner, it ain't really matter. I definitely sprinkled. So I sprinkled on both guys KO. I think Aljo KO this week was very slept on. I don't think a lot of people were really talking about that. I got it like +6 something, right? So I think that line was a little bit disrespectful. The same way you can kind of backpack and look for the choke. I thought, a TKO on the mat and a ref pulling them off was super possible. But yeah, I laid the hammer. I laid juice on the under 4.5. I think it closed 3.5. Not sure what the price was, but I think it was like close to -200 on an under 4.5. I was super confident on that bet. It was, I think, my largest wager on the evening. So yeah, I really like balance. I thought that covered a lot of pass in the fight, and we kind of saw that. Obviously wanted to pass. We saw it play out, but yeah, he fucking did it, bro. He did it. I was just talking to my pops not too long ago, and years ago, we were talking about O'Malley when he was on Contender Series, and my pops was hating on him a little bit, and I was like, yo, I think he could do something. You know what I'm saying? And all these years later, he's the champion, and he fucking did it. So it was amazing. I scored round 1 for Aljo. I think that late flurry at the end, I think he landed like close to 20 shots just in that one exchange at the end, kind of up against the fence. So I think that kind of pushed it his way in a round that really ain't shit happen. But yeah, really don't matter now. A couple minutes into the second, like you said, just a beautiful kind of pullback. He didn't really move. He just kind of looked like he had his distance, and the cleanest fucking counter you could possibly imagine, and face down, ass up for Aljo. So yeah, happy I cashed. I chose violence. Happy it worked out. This is why I love the fight game. Just anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Seeing the belt wrapped around Sugar's waist is fucking incredible. He probably fighting Cheeto next. Yeah, it was incredible, bro. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And yeah, Aljo said right away, right? He got up and he was like, yo, I underestimated him. I thought, he's better than I thought he was. And he did great with his movement and shit like that. That's what Aljo was saying. So yeah, did his job. O'Malley said all week, you got to make one mistake with him. And Aljo made that mistake, got a little sloppy on the entry and got knocked the fuck out. So as soon as the fight got stopped, right, the discourse started blowing up. And some people questioning the stoppage, right? So what do you think about the stoppage?
I think it was warranted, actually. I think Aljo was taking too much damage, bro. Like, when the back of your head especially hits the canvas, it's just protocol usually. And you see it slide a lot with MMA, but generally speaking, you look at other promotions, when the back of your head bounces off the canvas, they'll stop the fight. A lot of people don't know that or recognize that, but if you go watch, Octagon or, KSW, it's one of their safety protocols. The UFC lets it slide a little bit because they want to give people a chance to recover. But I thought, back of your head's hitting the back of that canvas 3 times, bouncing like a basketball, it's done, bro. You're done. Even if they would have let him up, I think the KO to follow up after that flurry would have been even a little bit more brutal. I think he would have been like taking a nap. I thought it was a good stoppage personally, but I don't know. I mean, I guess you can make arguments. Next, though, we kind of know what's next for Sean O'Malley, and it's probably going to be Merab. There's already a storyline built up into it.
He's hurt. Merab is hurt.
I know, and they're probably going to want to make it Cheeto, but it just doesn't make sense if you look at the rankings. Like, for Sean, yeah, he wants that Cheeto win back, and rightfully so. But Dana, Mick Maynard, Sean Shelby, the guys who are making the matches, I doubt that they're gonna move number 7, number 6 up to a championship fight. I don't know what his ranking is. I haven't looked at the rankings,
You
but
know the rankings don't matter. Come on, they don't fucking matter.
I mean,
Sean wants to fight. Of course, Cheeto's gonna take the fight. The narrative is there. They was already talking shit. They've been talking shit for months. Cheeto's gonna fight for the belt.
I hope so. I hope you're right. But I also think that Davishvili is next. I think that his name is up there.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that he's already in the hat. There's nothing else Davishvili has to do. He doesn't have to fight anybody. He's already number 2. His friend's going up to featherweight. By the way, Aljo gets smoked at featherweight. I hate to say it.
100%.
I love to say it, but I can't think of somebody who he's gonna compete with. You think you're gonna compete with Josh Emmett? Because I don't. And Josh Emmett's old and aging, but people forget Aljo's aging too, bro. He's 34, going on 35. I think Josh Emmett's younger than him. I don't know. I have to look back at it, but I'm looking at who I think he can compete with, and I'm like, man, that's a tough division for Aljo to step up into. I don't even want to mention Ilia Topuria. Alex Volk, come on, bro. He mentioned
Volk. Trying to fight Volk. Volk's name was in his mouth. That's craziness.
That's a little too much, man. Volk, come on, bro. Sean O'Malley, yeah, there's a couple of fighters that make sense. Merab for sure, Cheeto for sure. I would pick Sean O'Malley over Cheeto, but I wouldn't pick Sean O'Malley over Merab. I'm riding the Merab train. I gotta stick with it.
Yep.
I think that dude's just a little monster, and everyone keeps sleeping on him, bro. Everyone just keeps sleeping on Merab. And it's funny because whenever you ask Merab about it, he actually doesn't give a damn. He doesn't look at odds. He doesn't know that he's been the underdog in a lot of his fights. He's just he goes out there and he's like, I don't fucking know. I just fight. But overall, I thought UFC 292 delivered. I thought it was a great card. I thought the tough finale was a little bit too much for casuals to kind of comprehend, especially with the name value of those fighters. But great fight, great matchmaking. Did you end up in the positive units?
So minus 0.7 units, right? So I guess we're in the red. It is what it is, but could have been worse. Obviously, I hit my biggest bets of the day, but I put out a lot of props and not a lot of them hit. Some of them came close, but yeah, we take the small L. You win or you learn. You know what I'm saying? And Dana White Contender Series on Tuesday, so we're gonna try to get it back then.
Yeah, man. Have you looked at the following week card?
A little bit. I haven't dug in yet. No, my focus is Contender Series, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, start digging into the card.
Yeah, so Contender Series, I look at it, but I usually like to look at the face-offs first, so I know who I'm actually looking at. I don't recognize the name, so it's not it's such a soft market, bro, that I just don't really know. Last week, Al Sawadi, a lot of people were sleeping on that guy. I don't know if you noticed, he's at Fortis MMA as well, and he was a plus 300 underdog to I forget what his name is already, but Cage Warriors legend or whatever.
Yep.
Dude, I think there's money to be made in Contender Series if you're looking at where these fighters are training. Number one, you got to look at where they're training, because some of these camps, they will only address a certain style of martial art. And I can tell you firsthand, Fortis MMA has a little bit of everything. Wrestling is one of the focuses, but they do have striking, kickbox, everything. It's one of the camps that, in my opinion, they're just kind of they're raising their fighters to be savages, and they're easily coached as well. But whenever I don't even know where Hardwick, I can't remember his name. I don't know where he trained out of, but I don't recognize a lot of those London camps to begin with. So it was man, something seems off with this line. So I don't know, man. Do you have anything else to add before we close the show?
No, yeah, amazing night. This was super impromptu, right? So I appreciate you kind of putting this together. I love talking fights. I could talk fights all fucking day, but yeah, I mean, great night of fights. I hope you were profitable. If not, you'll definitely be profitable coming up. So one of the sharpest in the game. So yeah, love talking fights. I appreciate you putting this together. And yeah, I think we got 15, 14 more consecutive weeks every single Saturday. So it's gonna be a lot of money to be made. And yeah, let's do it.
I think in the future, what I'll be looking to do is probably doing a UFC show, maybe actually addressing that I'm going to be looking to do that, because it's hard for a lot of my followers to kind of know and plan for a show that's not regularly scheduled. I'm
Yeah.
more of a co-host, kind of like you. I just hop on streams.
Yeah.
Cap the Cage with Ronald Kabang. He's the guy who usually runs the show,
Mhm.
but I don't know what happened to it. That's his thing. Runs it back up. I'm always down. I talk fights, love fights. And I always stick with this, that it is the most genuine sport in the world. You don't have to worry about your prop totals, your first baskets, no fouls, none of that. It's the most genuine sport in the world. You just got two people in there just fighting, and that's the way that I like my sports. I mean, I don't know. MMA is just too genuine, money to be made. So if you're interested, and if you have a good read on next week's what do we have? I forget where they're at. Singapore, UFC Singapore.
Yeah.
If you're down to make a show, I'll probably make a little announcement, and maybe we can hop on live either Wednesday or Thursday. But again, that's if you're going to have like some insight and stuff. I still have to look at the card because a lot of the odds kind of just released. So I have to reevaluate. Or I shouldn't say just released. It's been a few days now, but some of those lines are gone. I don't know if you saw, but Na Leong, she was at plus 700 is what she opened at. I think she's come all the way down at plus 325. So,
wow,
dude, that's crazy, right? Fucking women, man. And the girl that she's fighting, JJ Aldrich, is off a loss. So I'm trying to make it make sense. Like, how the hell is this girl minus 1,000? I don't know, bro.
Bro, that's fucking crazy.
It's women too, so shit just happens. But anyways, I'm gonna close the show. This was a great recap show. Hopefully, we're able to talk fights. Wednesday or Thursday, and yeah, I look forward to talking to you about it, at least in the Twitter, and beyond that, maybe even a video. So we'll see what happens. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. I see a lot of comments that are on the live stream. Thanks a lot. Finesse, have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.